I didn't hear Anthony Chiang. Like, I didn't hear the whole thing. We gotta intro the man. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I'm feeling good. Ready for the start of the season. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. You agree with that, right? If you don't win in the line of scrimmage, it's interesting how Marino and Tua end up losing to a Bills team in the 90s, although you're too
Yeah,
young for that shit.
yeah.
The San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl, or the Jags. You did see that, right? You were probably really young when you saw him
62
got his
nothing or something. Yeah.
7. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I
And
remember that one. Yeah.
it had nothing to do with Marino.
Right.
Just like Tua has nothing to do with Tua. Bro, if you get your ass kicked at the line of scrimmage, you're gonna lose.
Yeah. Also,
More often, you're gonna lose.
if you're playing
You know,
three backup offensive linemen, a lot of times, like
yeah, that's not gonna help
there's
either.
only so much you could do. It's not an excuse, but that's a legit obstacle the Dolphins faced in that game, and missing two cornerbacks too. Just that they're missing. I mean, every team is missing guys, but
Right.
the Dolphins are missing some valuable players.
Yes. Yes. So that's why I say let's chill out, bro. Let's relax. Things are better right now with the Dolphins than they've been in a long time. So
Yeah.
we're in a better place. Let's think macro. It's on the ups. Don't think micro and stay in the moment where you're
Right.
depressed about this week. Overall, the trajectory is like that. So, what is the trajectory for the Miami Heat this season? What is the key? Is it all about Tyler Hero? Because we know that Jimmy Butler has to stay healthy, but we know he will fight through a lot of shit.
Right.
Overall, Bam's been a pillar of stability. Is does this season ride on Tyler Hero finally breaking through that glass ceiling with his glass body?
I mean, that's one of the factors, right? I think health is the biggest factor with this team, and Tyler Hero is a big part of that because he's gotten hurt a lot throughout his career. But I think as long as Jimmy, Bam, and Tyler play 60 plus games each, 65 plus games, they'll be competing for a top four spot in the East. I mean, we've seen it. Those three together with Spo in the regular season, they're gonna compete for a top playoff spot. I know last year was a little disappointing. They had to go to the play-in, but for the most part, and last year they had dealt with a ton of injuries. Maybe not to those three guys, but so many guys in and out of the lineup. I think if this team is healthy, they're competing for a top four spot. Obviously, without a major upgrade made this offseason, you're going to need to have continue to have internal improvement from Bam and Tyler. You're going to need to rely on those guys to continue to get better and improve their game for this team to take another jump because again there isn't a big upgrade to this team. They need to rely on the guys from last season, especially Bam and Tyler, because those are the two young, quote unquote stars they're leading on. They need those guys to continue to evolve and grow for this team to be better.
Who are the guys that are going to step up and become factors here, like helping carry the team on a night in and night out basis? Not known Bam
Yeah.
or Jimmy or Tyler, the obvious ones.
Yeah, I think Haywood Highsmith, he's not going to be ready for the start of the regular season, but I think he's going to play a big role. I
I
think
like.
he's ready to play consistent minutes. His 3-point shot has gotten better. We know what he can do on defense. We know you can put him on the best perimeter scorer on the other team and take some of that pressure off of Jimmy and other guys where he could take that assignment and hold up. He fits in a lot of the lineups that he play, whether it's power forward or small forward. It's a shame he won't be ready for the start of the year, but it looks like it isn't a serious injury, probably just a couple weeks. So when he comes back, I would expect him to play pretty big role off the bench. Another guy I would say is Thomas Bryant. We've seen what he can do in the preseason. The backup center role last year was a disaster. That backup center spot in the rotation was a disaster for the Heat. They lost so many games just because they would get outscored like by 15 points when Bam went to the bench. If he could just kind of make it even and have the team, not lose ground when Bam is on the bench, that's going to make a big difference. And then other guys, Kyle Lowry. Look, the way this team is built, he's gonna be an X factor. He's the only true point guard on the roster, really. He's gonna need to stay healthy and not average 20, 25 points a game, but just give you enough to complement the three stars.
You mean Drew Smith is not going to start and lead us to the championship?
I don't expect that now. But you can never count anything out with the Heat.
By the way, was Jamal Kane a little pissed off about the whole contract
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, we spoke with him yesterday after practice, and you could tell he was disappointed. He expected to get it, and I think we all kind of expected him to get it. I wasn't totally shocked Drew Smith at the standard contract because I know the Heat really, really like him, and I know they felt like they needed to add another point guard to the roster, so it kind
I
of
think
fills a positional need. That's kind of
that's what
that's what
they're
it
so
was.
desperate for a ball
Yeah,
handler. They wanted to make sure that they could not lose him, and they wanted to lock him up in a big
yeah,
time way.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The thing is, like, they could have kept him on a two-way and Jamal to a standard, and they could have still kept Drew Smith. He just would have only been able to be active for 50 games, you know. So, do they
but
expect?
you can't count on Lowry, bro. He's
Right.
been injury prone
Yeah.
too,
No, and
and
he's
so you,
37 years old, and yeah, no, I get it. I
yeah,
get it.
yeah. And I think I also was thinking about this. You need Drew Smith for practice, not just for a game.
It's a very
You
good point.
need you need him to run your offense defensively in practice. So you have somebody running and testing your defense. Offensively, you're also going to need him. Plus, you keeps him around so he can learn from Lowry and all that kind of stuff. See, learn all that. Be a part of the meetings, everything else. There. When I saw that and I saw the whole beef and all that, I felt bad too because I'm a huge Jamal Kane guy. This show is
Yeah.
Sean and I are big Jamal Kane guys, and I still think he's not going anywhere. I
No, I
still
don't think
think,
he is either. No.
yeah, but you could tell that the kid, he's got some pride. He knows that he's done enough in a way to earn that thing, and so it's not his job to understand that the team cherishes a little bit more the ball handler at this
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah, I feel bad for Jamal, right? Because like you said, he earned it. He
Yeah.
earned the standard contract with his play. He's been here for over, a year developing in that system. He's gotten better. Second year now, played really, really well in the preseason. And it's just unfortunate because circumstances just didn't allow for him to get the standard contract. They needed another point guard. Um, I feel for him, but I have a feeling that eventually he'll get it. Whether it's in mid-season this year, we've seen the Heat convert two-way guys to a standard contract in January or February or something like that, or even next year. I think he'll get it. He's proven that he could play at the NBA level. I think he's an NBA player.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
He's definitely an NBA player, bro. He's got dog in him, dude. That's
yeah,
the other thing. There's a lot of guys, Anthony, over the years, I see guys and I see their skill set and I say, okay, athletically, you got something, right? Okay, so now do you have an edge to yourself? Can you bring physicality? Do you have intelligence? Some of the other traits that I need to see from you. And then when I look at this kid, he's got it all, bro.
yeah,
He's got it all. He's got dog in him, dude. And that's the one thing you cannot teach. You cannot teach people that are fearless. And that's a fearless dude. And for me, I want all 15 guys on my roster to be, fearless of
yeah.
whatever. And I can't say that about every NBA player. You know what I mean?
No, for sure. And look, I would not be shocked if Jamal Kane is active for opening night, right? Because Haywood
Yeah.
Highsmith is out. Jaime Jaquez, we don't know if he's going to be available. They need depth at forward.
Yeah.
I would actually predict Jamal Kane, even though he's on a two-way contract, that he'll be active on opening night, and maybe not Drew Smith. We don't know about Drew Smith, right? But I think Jamal Kane probably has a better chance of being active just because they have a couple forwards that are hurt.
How many is
So
it? How many times can they activate him? Is it like 30 or something? What
50
is it?
teams, 50. So it's a good amount. 50 of
Oh,
the 82. Yeah. So for the
yeah.
most, he can be active for more than half the schedule. So
Yeah.
again, just because, and we've seen it in the past, just because you're on a two-way contract with the Heat doesn't mean you're not going to have a role on the NBA team. Because I mean, whether it's Duncan Robinson or Gabe Vincent or Max Strus or even Caleb Martin, right? That one year he was on a two-way. Those
Yeah.
guys have had roles. If you earn it, they'll play you.
Oh, yeah. And I think, he's got that attitude that I think he's not going to go into a shell because of this. I think he's the dude that gets pissed off even more about it in a good way and says, oh, okay, so that's how, okay, so now I'm going to force you to give me that contract. And so now those 50 opportunities, he will maximize that. And then Spo's going to say, yeah, I need this guy on the roster all the time.
Yeah.
I need him. So then you're going to have to make a decision. And plus, I still think there'll be a trade, and then that will free up some spots too.
Sure.
You know, at one point or another, right?
Yeah.
Because
I think
Lowry doesn't finish the season here.
I mean, it depends on his play this year and all that. A lot of it depends on that and his health. But yeah, he's a big expiring contract. Usually those guys are traded. Yeah, by the trade deadline.
And from what walk me through this, because
Yeah.
you know, I come from a place of ignorance here, and maybe a lot of fans also. It behooves the Heat to move him during the season to use that cap space. If you allow it to just expire in the offseason, they're already a capped out team. You will not be able to use that space, correct?
Yes and no. It would benefit them to trade him for another guy on an expiring contract, because they're gonna be if they let his contract expire, they'll be below the second apron, which is important. Not just again because of the tax bill, but because they'll be able to, actually make additions to the roster. They'll be able to aggregate salaries in a trade. They might be able to use their mid-level. But if they get a guy on a multi-year deal that's comparable to Kyle Lowry's salary, that's on the books for next year in a trade, they're probably going to be above the second apron, and that's going to be very, very restrictive.
I don't give a shit about his taxes, bro.
It's not about the taxes. It's about what we've talked about in the past, Beagle. The new second apron, with the limitations where basically you only have minimum contracts to fill out the roster. You can't do anything else.
But you could use that salary to acquire something good. Is my point?
Yeah, you could. Yeah.
Okay, so that if obviously you're right, and generally you're right that
both sides, there's benefits and pros and cons for both.
Yeah, if you're not acquiring anything sexy, then you're better off letting it expire and getting under the second apron. But my point is, it's going to be hard for you because of your limitations to sign anybody straight up in free agency.
Right.
That's really good with that kind of money. So that's what I'm saying. If you can actually find some kind of disgruntled star or a team that wants to kind of reset and they've got to, say bye to their star or something. That's what I'm saying, that maybe you could use that salary for Lowry in the deadline. That's all.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And there are pros and cons to both options, and it obviously depends on the player you're getting back.
Right.
But if the Heat want to let his contract expire, there's benefit in that. But if they wanted to cash in his contract and get a guy who could help you for the next few years, or maybe another expiring, there's definitely value in that as well. It'll be interesting to see what they do. And again, a lot of it depends on Kyle Lowry's play. If he turns out to be the starting point guard for this team, bounce back year, averaging 15 points and 7-8 assists, and he's an essential part of this formula, we've seen that they're not going to sell off a guy just because he's on expiring, right? They're going to let it play out because they're in a win down mode. But if he's hurt in and out of the lineup, has another down year, then I could definitely see a trade happening.
Yeah. I just, all of you guys on this beat, you guys have been so programmed to talk about taxes and all that shit that when I watch Stephen Ross spend like it's going out of style, like he builds up his stadium with his own money, practice facility, bridges, tunnels, F1 race, signs any player you want. I look at the Moss family. They build a fucking stadium in Fort Lauderdale for fun while they build the other one in Miami, and they bring Messi and all that. And I got the hockey team, and I got Viola and Sifu building stuff over at War Memorial and do all, I don't want to hear about, taxes.
No, I get it. I get it.
I like the Harrison family. I respect the shit out of what they've done here. But lately, there's been too much whining about this tax and that. Bro, you're a billionaire, dude. And your business doesn't even pay taxes in this country, by the way, with your ships. So you save a lot of money. And I'm just one show that has zero sympathy for that when I'm watching three other maniacs in town not give a shit about money. I'm
Yeah.
sure that they care that they're losing it, but they publicly do not ever complain about taxes or money or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's my
Yeah.
problem with this one side of the Miami Heat, that it's like, yo, dude, come on, bro.
Yeah.
I
No, I get
get
it.
Bruce Sherman wants to cry poor. I kind of understand it compared to the other people in town. Mickey Harrison, bro, I just I have a hard time with it, bro. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, and
I just
I get it, and most fans agree with you, and I totally understand it. But what I was saying is there's basketball reasons now. This new CBA, there's actual basketball reasons why. It's not just about the money. Yes,
right.
of course, it's a factor for everybody, but there's actual basketball reasons now for going to the second apron.
Now,
Like roster, yeah, now, and look, this year we don't have to get into it. I know we've done this a ton of times, but they're gonna pay over $20 million. Well, they're on track to pay over $20 million in taxes. That bill will be calculated at the end of the regular season. They have one of the top 7 highest payrolls in the league. All that stuff is to say, like, I get the criticism, but also when you look at it from a macro point of view, they still have one of the most expensive payrolls in the league right now. And yes, maybe you could.
You said they're at number 7, right? Well, that's
Right.
what it takes.
Yeah.
Everybody else is paying it. Everybody
Right.
else is trying to compete. Don't cry about it, bro. That's
Yeah.
what you have to do to compete. So if you're going to cry about it, then get the fuck out. That's what
Yeah.
I say. But I don't want to hear billion. You cry poor. I
Right.
cry poor. Okay? We all work to keep our heads barely above water. I don't want to hear a billionaire cry poor.
Sure.
It is such a bad look, dude. And you
Yeah.
gave it away there by their 7th. Well, then that means there's a whole bunch of other teams doing it.
Right.
Brother, that's part of the game.
Yeah.
If you don't want to compete, then be the Charlotte Hornets or something, bro, or the Orlando Magic or something. But if you want to compete, you're going to have to pay some taxes. You're going to have to pay. Please don't complain about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get it. They're not used to paying taxes. I get it. I understand. They're not used to paying taxes. But I'm sorry. You got to pay taxes.
Yeah. The NBA salary cap is really interesting because it's so layered and like, yeah, I mean, I know that's the hot topic right now of conversation with Heat fans of like the tax and this and that. But the point is right now, look, they have a competitive. They didn't get the guy you maybe wanted to. Damian Lillard, Bradley Beal. That's going to be a narrative all season. But they
Bradley
have
Beal,
a roster that can compete right now.
I didn't want Bradley Beal.
Yeah, right.
I wasn't interested in that one.
But the main point is they have a roster that's going to compete in the Eastern Conference.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And they're going to be, maybe they're not the best team in the East, but they have a top 4, top 5 roster in the East. If they can stay healthy, they'll be competitive. And we'll see what happens this season. We'll see if a trade comes up.
Coach. They have the best coach on the
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah. And that's an X factor as well. Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to ask you one more thing before I let you go. Do they really extend Butler after the next 3 years? Because it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't care if it ends ugly. And I know he has a player option that 3rd year. If I'm the Heat, if I want to move forward, I am not moving forward with a 37, 38, 39-year-old Butler. I think I'm going to get out here in these last few years. What do you see happening?
Did they pay Dwayne Wade when he wanted that money at that at
No.
a similar age? I think he was actually younger.
Yeah, he was
younger.
younger.
I get Jimmy wanting that money, right? At 36, 37 years old, of course. But I can't imagine the Heat giving somebody $50, $60 million a year at that point of their career, right? It just doesn't seem like good business. So yeah, I don't see that happening because the Heat never do that. And it's very rare for a player to get paid that much money at that age. So if I had to predict, I would say either they agree to a cheaper extension or a cheaper contract, or maybe, he's not that, that the deal ends and that's it. But I think Jimmy has said on record, like he wants to retire after he's done playing for the Heat. So would he retire if he doesn't get there's a long way to go before that. But my point is, I just can't see them giving him that type of contract when he's 36, 37 years old.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chiang and catch his exceptional work there at the Miami Herald. Anthony, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up later on in the week.
Thanks. So have a good week.
You got it. There you go. Anthony Chiang. And when we talk about Baptist Health of South Florida, we love talking about, I mean, Baptist Health has been such a huge part of my life. They saved me, man. They saved me. I mean, my heart could have exploded. And I went in there in an emergency situation, and those doctors attacked the situation. And I'm here today because of the people at Baptist Health of South Florida. The 5 stents in my heart. My wife, she broke her jaw. My daughter was born at Baptist Health. Recently, I had a colonoscopy. I mean, Baptist Health of South Florida has been a huge part of our lives, folks. And there's all kinds of locations, too, down in Marathon Key or in Tavernier Key, all the way up to Boynton Beach, Bethesda, East and West, folks. Boca Regional. We've got Homestead Baptist Way, Doctors Hospital in Coral Gables. I mean, we've got hospitals all throughout South Florida, folks, so check it out. And when we talk about Baptist Health of South Florida, you don't need to be a professional athlete to go where the pros go. The doctors at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care can see you now. Visit baptisthealth.net/ortho to request an appointment and get yourself back in the game, or use that QR code that you're seeing right there on the screen and tell them that Big O sent you. baptisthealth.net/ortho.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.